In this video I am driving a Mexican-built American Ford Escort here in South Wales, which is a bit bizarre. Let me introduce you to the Ford Escort ZX2. So okay, the manufacturer is familiar, the name is familiar, but what on earth is this? This is not an Escort any European would recognise. Well, this is developed from the Mazda platform, the Mazda 323 Familia or Protege, I think, in some markets. And it's an American compact coupe, in some ways the replacement for the Ford Probe, at least the four-cylinder version of the Ford Probe. Yeah, a cheap little car by American standards, but how does it stack up on European roads? Now I'll be approaching this from a slightly different point of view because I own an Australian Ford, a Ford Falcon, or rather Fairmont, I got the posh one, AU. That was launched in 1998. As was this era of the Ford Escort. They both follow that sort of new edge Ford styling of the time. But whereas my Australian Ford is very, very Australian, this American Ford is actually very Japanese, apart from one key bit. And that's here under the hood or bonnet where we find a Ford Zetec 2-litre engine. Quite punchy, there's not much weight to cart around here. That is the only Ford bit of the mechanicals really, the rest is pure Mazda. Apparently the front brake's the same as an MX-3, the rear brake's the same as the larger 626. But there's lots of space, you can definitely see it's an actual engine, and VCT. It does have variable valve timing on the exhaust cam, but apparently that's more for emissions rather than out and out power. It's a fixed rear window, so we have got a lift up boot. The struts feel a little tired, and a decent space there, and a folding rear seat. You can see the speakers there, but quite a high lip for loading stuff in, but nonetheless quite enough room for my bag and my tripod. Obviously I'm not using the tripod, I'm hand holding because quality. But under here, look at that, space saver rather, spare. And all looking very clean and tidy in there. Quality. Moving inside, who's he? I have no idea. And this amuses me, it is classic and it is American. But yeah, of course it's left-hand drive, but look at the brown and the beige. Colours that were lost to European palettes by this time. It's all endless seas of grey plastic. But if I jump in, quality is, well, it's all right. It's not perfect, shall we say. I love these very thin, very sort of demure, oh, nice, sun visors. But yeah, it's just very, very beige. I haven't taken the mount off the windscreen because once those come off, they don't like to go back on. But down here is a Ford head unit. This behaves. The ignition's off, much like the very common Ford unit in my Fairmont. But look, we got a stick. Someone bought this new in Texas with a 5-speed manual gearbox. You could specify a 4-speed auto. But we think it was probably services because at just 1,500 miles, it was imported to the UK. So it's been over here about 25 years, maybe 26 years. Having been produced in 1999, so it's a little bit older than my Ford Fairmont, but yeah, I just find it amusing. There's very similar design language, very curvy, lots of organic shapes, as the marketing people would probably say. But these seats are quite noisy, so don't get up to anything on them, but they are quite comfy. And look at the condition, absolutely lovely. There's now 74,000 miles on the clock. I shall show you the clock. Here are the dials. So we've got an aftermarket fog light switch, which was necessary when the car was imported because America apparently doesn't have fog. And look, we got keep fit windows, so you have to operate them manually, but they are frameless. Always love a frameless door. It looks really, really posh. Oh, doesn't sound it when you close it. Maybe we'll do that back up. Electric mirrors and power steering are about the only toys we've got, and the stalks are very, they feel very flimsy, but you know, they do the job. Hazards, proper indicator noise, and then yeah, the comprehensive switchgear of rear defroster. They mentioned that in the manual. That's how little equipment is fitted. A heater, where you can actually turn it off completely from there, even though that's where the fan switch is. And then, yeah, your cassette player, Ford branded. And yeah, I think the internals of that are probably very similar to other Fords of the time. But moving back, we've got a little cubby pot here. I think that's meant to be an ashtray. It just sort of slots in to the cup holder back there. And I guess I should see what it's actually like in the back. I have no idea. So I presume we move that. Oh yeah, dunk, 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 dunk. And in we go. Oh, it's a bit tight. Oi. Yeah, coupes, not the best. Oh no, there is no headroom. I can't stretch up at all. But reasonable knee room. Just, yeah, that my head is touching the window. That's not good at all. So I'm going to say tiddlers only in the back. But like I say, there is a folding seat for a bit more practicality. So maybe best to consider this extra load space instead. Chunky high level brake light there. But yeah, I'm getting claustrophobic now. Can I get out, please? Down here, by the way, we've got fuses, your fuel shut off switch, so the inertia switch is behind there if you need to reset it, panel light adjustment, hood release, and trunk. And I like the fact it's so out of view you kind of can't see it. But I need to get my mounts out and we can take this puppy for a drive. Let's fire up the Zetec engine then. Oh, it won't let me do it unless I put the clutch down. And unsurprisingly, kind of sounds like the Zetec engine you get in a Ford Focus. Incidentally, this car was produced at the same time as the Focus. The original Escort series, when we went to the Mark III in Europe, that was actually Ford's first world car. There was an American version of the Mark III Escort. But then they decided to, like Ford Australia, base their smaller car on the Mazda 323. And indeed, the Australian shape Ford Laser, the sort of late, I think it was the late 80s, early 90s version, was produced in America as well, with slight differences. And so there is a kind of a shared heritage there between the Australian and the American lines. Ooh! Put some lights on. Oh my gosh, yeah, it goes quite well. Apparently the 0 to 60 time is something like 7.4 seconds. So quite a punchy engine and not much weight to haul around because it is quite a flimsy thing, but it's quite weird. You sit really far forward and the pillars and everything feel really, really close. So yeah, slightly odd driving position as we go here into the dark. Overall, the feeling is not very American, I must admit. And I guess it should be fairly familiar to me. I've owned a Mazda 323F, or Lantis in some markets, which is also developed from the same platform. That car had particularly sharp steering. This seems a little numb, and the ride is still firm, but I suspect it's softened a little more for American tastes. But yeah, production was in Mexico, so this is a very well-traveled car. I don't mean to quite get myself on such a perfect rally stage, but nonetheless it's a good chance to go through the gears. And again, the gear change very, very precise, very Japanese. Yeah, so it gets itself down the road quite nicely. You don't have to thrash it. It just picks up speed well. But has good torque and good low rev capabilities as well. It's had a long life here, but has been very, very well cared for. We've got a slight crack in the dashboard there. And that is it. It's very tidy in here for its 74,000 miles. Oh yeah, it feels the perfect car for these roads, even with its left-hand drive. it just handles nice and tidy. Yeah, it's a very pleasant drive and a very unusual car to find over here. So I'm glad owner Neil, who is a very long-term HubNutter, as I'm glad he takes good care of it. And he's not like he doesn't use it. He kind of uses it as his daily through the summer months, and why not? It's a very competent car. The only thing is, I mean, look where the door hinges. It's right there, and most of the door is behind me. But I guess that's coupe life, I guess. Yeah, very interesting insight coming straight from my Australian barge and into this. But yeah, Betty the barge feels very Australian, whereas this feels quite Japanese. But that's no bad thing. Well, it's a reminder that Ford was so happy to mix things up and have bits of car produced all over the place, different cars for different markets. They somehow pulled it off a lot better than General Motors ever managed to do. General Motors never quite seemed to get the tailoring to a local taste thing, which is why the Holden Commodore latterly had independent rear suspension, whereas the Ford version could carry a ton in the back, no problem, because it had a sort of live rear axle. Yeah, I'd never noticed that. Look, it says ZX2 on the rear window. I didn't know it did that, genuinely. I've just discovered it. But yeah, I guess the only thing that strikes me is it doesn't feel like an American car at all, does it? It just hasn't got the well, the right soundtrack, to be honest. Oh yeah, she gets over the road well. That's 60. Oh, yeah, doesn't feel American in the slightest, but it is a very entertaining drive. It's a car that, had they made it right-hand drive, I think would have been quite popular here. This was the time, the early thousands, there were lots of little coupes about, and we'd had the Probe, and the Probe didn't quite hit the spot. Again, that was very Mazda under the skin. But I think this might have done well. I guess the problem was the sportier Focuses themselves were a good steer. So maybe they just rendered this entirely unnecessary. I don't think they ever sold these in massive numbers because, yeah, the Ford Focus existed. You could buy a sporty Focus. In fact, there was a Focus ZX3 to keep the ZX tag going. But yeah, it just feels really competent. You actually feel quite a bit of what's going on through the front wheels. Oh, apologies, my mount is shaking over there. Which is a shame, because otherwise trim rattles are quite minimal. So I have a brief naughty burst of 70 for scientific reasons. About 3,000 revs, but you can hear we do get a bit of wind noise. It's quite gusty today. You do occasionally get a bit of wind noise through the frameless doors, always the downside of the frameless door. But again, a Mazda feature, my Mazda 323F had frameless doors. Oh yeah. This is sparky, this is fun, it handles well. For all those reasons, can't possibly be American. Sorry, Americans. My gosh, this car is a lot of fun to drive. Oh, 30 limit. I'll tell you what, this is definitely my kind of Escort. It's I'm quite known for not being the biggest fan of the Escort, but it turns out this Mexican-built Texan one is right up my street. I mean, sure, the drive is at the wrong end for most Welsh Escort fans, but yeah, this is still a lot of fun to drive. Oh, we are in Trap, apparently, up in the Black Mountains of Wales. And I'm having a lovely time. I don't mind admitting, this car's great. I'm probably going to have to put more petrol in it. I'm having that much fun. It just, yeah, it's really nice to drive. And it just goes nicely, it handles nicely. Oh, across the stone bridge. I have no idea where I'm going. It's just one of those amazing days where you just discover places. Yeah, I'm definitely having too much fun. See, this is my point. Front wheel drive is better for the road, is what I've always thought. Rear wheel drive, brilliant. If you're doing rally stages, driving on a track, yeah, rear wheel drive is definitely what you want. But for real roads, front wheel drive, please. Oh, brilliant. I mean, I drove a Ford Puma on these roads, and that, in terms of feel, the Puma was just a little bit better, and that Yamaha tweaked engine is utterly joyous. But to be honest, there's not a lot in it. It hasn't quite got that pin sharp turning of the Puma, but nonetheless, a very enjoyable drive. I did not expect that. I knew I was coming to drive an Escort ZX2 today, but I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't know what it would feel like. Surprisingly good is, I think, the answer. Oh, we haven't conducted the important business of a wiper test. Oh yeah, very Mazda. Good overlap, no triangle of doom. Very efficient. Little wipers, look at that. Well, there we go. The Mexican Ford sold in America that made it to the south of Wales. Yeah, I really like that. It's actually a really nice, tidy drive, and I think it fits my desire to own all of the Fords of this era. I really want a Taurus of this era. That would be marvellous to go with my Australian Ford, and maybe one of these. Isn't it great? I just love it. The styling is so unusual, and so unlike either the Mazda or the Ford on which it's based. I think it's great. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that. Anyway, I certainly have. And thank you for watching. And we shall see you in a future video. Farewell. It's a Ford, Jim, but not as we know it. Well, I did not expect the indicators to be there. Mind you, they're out of sync with these side indicators, which are out of sync with these indicators. Similarly, I didn't expect the indicators to be there. I guess that's where the reverse lights would be normally, and that's the cleverest way of having them. And that's an aftermarket fog light, which kind of looks fitting. It's kind of Focus-esque, albeit a few of the LEDs are dead, but it's still nice and bright. Schmarts.